Welcome back to Trading with CJ. We just hit 5,000 subscribers, so I want to say a massive thank you to everybody that has supported the channel as well. We are talking today about Hitif, ticker symbol HITIF. This is one we spoke about a few different times, but this is going to be slightly different. We've done an analysis video on these, we spoke about some news, etc. Today we're going to go through all the major catalysts for this one in the coming weeks, months and years, and why I think it has major potential. With that in mind, I'm not a financial advisor, so if you are planning on investing, you should always do your own research first. Now, before I even made a video on these, I put these on our Discord. We speak about a lot of different stocks, including a lot of penny stocks, including Hitif. It has its own channel on our Discord as well. You can come and join us. It is completely free. We're building a nice investing community. First link in the description below to get these ones early before the videos, etc. as well. Hitif is the company today. And when I first bought this one, I bought it at 43 cents per share. And we made a video on them, it was 62 cents per share. So even since that video, in a short period of time, less than a week I think it is up over 25%. This is not a pump and dump stock for me. This is a stock that I really do think is a long-term hold. And you're going to find out exactly why I think that in this video. So with that in mind, if you do enjoy this video or you want to help me out, please go ahead and smash the like and subscribe to my channel. That really is appreciated. So let's get into this. The first major catalyst here for this company is its brand, okay? What is it actually doing? Why is this company good? This is a cannabis company that has its largest footprint in Canada. So it's kind of based in Canada, but it's branching out as well into UK, internationally, and obviously, of course, the US. It has lots of different brands. We've got Canacabara here. This one is nation's favorite one-stop shop for cannabis. So we have Meta. This was a new acquisition for Hitif around about mid-November, and this is going to give them another 65 operating retail locations and $148 million in annualized revenue, and approximately 60% of the initially identified annual synergies being realized almost immediately, which is absolutely insane, okay? And that's going to now be trading under HITIF. So they've got Hitif as well. They've gained more stores, more money as well. Another couple of brands here, New Leaf, Kush Bar, and then we have Grass City. This one is really interesting. I want to briefly talk about this one. Grass City is an e-commerce website, and not only any e-commerce website, it is the world's largest online retailer of consumption accessories, and it ships over 130,000 orders across the internationally as well. The site has over 20 million visits a year, which is absolutely insane, and their leading e-commerce platform is well positioned to service an expanding customer base into the future. So this is big. They have the world's leading e-commerce platform here for consumption accessories. Not only that, another recent acquisition, another big catalyst for this company. Hitif continues to strengthen the US market presence through its acquisition of leading e-commerce retailer Smoke Cartel. Upon closing of this acquisition, Smoke Cartel and Hitif will now operate both the largest and second largest e-commerce platforms for consumption accessories in the world. That is massive. They already had Grass City, and now they have this Smoke Cartel as well. And we can see here, to take advantage of the continuing trend towards e-commerce, as we know, most things are going online. The digital data from Salesforce resulted in 45% year-on-year digital sales increase in the first 2 weeks of December globally. So that is absolutely insane. We know it's growing and growing, and this is now going to, Smoke Cartel has 550,000 customers across the United States, Canada, and the UK, and that's now going to give Hitif access to all of that as well. This is another amazing acquisition here for Hitif. 2020, Smoke Cartel expects to report approximately $7.4 million in revenue and over 16% in EBITDA margin, with approximately $1 million in cash. The numbers are looking good for Smoke Cartel as well, not to mention we're going to go into Hitif's numbers in a bit, which is obviously, of course, another catalyst. And yeah, it's all looking good on that front. So they've got another couple of acquisitions there. We're going to carry on going down the brands here for a minute. CBDC, this is a CBD e-commerce website that Hitif recently got. They got that in May 2020, so it's early days for that one. They have Valiant Distribution, which is the wholesale side of things. So they've got brick and mortar, e-commerce, wholesale, and then we've even got this one, Famous Brands. Our in-house manufacturing division is licensed smoking accessories. Famous Brands is basically working with celebrity partnerships, and we can go into this slide here from the investor presentation. Some of those celebrity licenses that, you know, have their own product ranges, etc. on this website. Snoop Dogg top of the list there. Guns N' Roses, Trailer Park Boys, big names on that list you can see all there. So these are all working with Hitif and the Famous Brands brand. More and more good reasons here for this company. You know, big names like Snoop Dogg in this industry, especially anyway, you know, working with companies like High Tide. I think that's a great catalyst for this company. So on top of the celebrity endorsements and the acquisitions of the brands, they also have another big two strategically invested partners, okay? Aurora and Afria, two massive cannabis companies. You must have heard of them if you're interested in this sector. They are both strategically invested in High Tide. That is definitely a confidence boost in this company, because if you've got big companies like that investing into such a small company at this moment in time, it's definitely a good confidence boost, and it definitely shows signs of growth going forward. So let's talk about their financials, see how this is getting along, because it's not quite released its Q4 yet, but however, we've got the third quarter coming out. We can see here the revenue has been growing and growing. 8, 11, 13, 19, 23. That's a lot of money coming out in revenue. The gross profit is going up as well. 3, 4, 4, 7, 9. The numbers are looking really good. This is from 2018. Each quarter it has been going up and up and up. And then you can even see here net income. Okay, it was making a loss every year until the last quarter. It is now in profit, which is amazing for this company. The cash as well. The cash has been going up. So things are looking really good, okay? Not to mention, this came out on February the 1st, so extremely recent. High Tide further strengthens its balance sheet as over 7 million of debentures converted into equity, which is great, okay? You can see they're pleased to announce that additional 7.4 million of debt has been converted into common shares, which is another sign that the market is beginning to better appreciate the prospects of our business and our exciting growth ahead. In addition to having lower overall debt load, these conversions should save the company just under $900,000 of foregone interest costs. So yeah, great things right there. They've just got over another 7 million of debentures converted into equity, which is great. And then on top of that, a couple of days later, High Tide raised equity offering $20 million. This is considerably gone up from the 15 in the original stock offering. $20 million. And you can see this is still offering 31.25 to 41.67 million units at the price of 0.48. And this should be expected to be completed on the February the 23rd. That's when that should close. So they're raising even more and more money. On top of the cash they already had on their balance sheet, raising money, clearing off debt. Things are looking good financially wise. And then we're going to go into their highlights from their third quarter financials. So we've gone through quite a lot of this already, but the revenue is 180% increase. That is absolutely huge. 180% from the same quarter the previous year. Not only that, the 3 months ended, the revenue was 75% in Canada and 23% in the United States. We're going to touch on that in just a moment in time. It's definitely worth knowing here, 23% of this revenue for this moment in this company is coming from the US, with 75% coming from Canada. So that's quite important to know. Gross profit is obviously going up as well. We've mentioned that. And the income from operations for the past 3 months has also gone up. The adjusted EBITDA for the 3 months, which ended in July 31st, 2020, was 3.96 million compared to a loss of 3.57 million. So things are looking really good. The cash is, of course, going up as well. And we just mentioned it's even gone up even more in the last few weeks. Let's look at how some of the numbers are doing as well in terms of the company. How are the sales progressing? Where do we think this will go? Well, the e-commerce revenue increased by 137% during the year. And that was from the CBD City site, which we spoke about, launched in May. So that's amazing. And the Valiant distribution streamline for the wholesale products that we briefly touched on as well. They launched that. They've launched their CBD website. They've acquired Meta. They've acquired Smoke Cartel recently as well. And this very last point on this list right here, which is probably one of the biggest catalysts on there actually. First Canadian and US cannabis retailer to apply to list on the NASDAQ. That is absolutely huge. So we can see right here, this is announces application to list on the NASDAQ. That was on December the 9th. And like we've already mentioned, this company already earns 23% of the revenue from the US. They are now applying to go onto the NASDAQ. So we should be hearing about that, you know, in the coming months, etc. Will they be able to get on the NASDAQ? Because if they do, that's going to give them a lot more exposure to the US market and therefore US investors as well. So it's definitely a good thing. And one of the major catalysts, on top of all the others we spoke about here today, that one is probably one of the bigger ones out there. However, even bigger than that, I would say, is the administration. We've touched on this in previous videos. Democrats are in the new administration, and you can see it. Democratic senators will push to pass pot reform bill this year. Whether it goes through this year or not, I'm not sure. However, there's definitely a lot more faith in it now with the Democrats being involved, okay? Because they are definitely for legalizing weed throughout the US. And if they do that, of course, the sales are going to follow with that. These companies are going to make a crazy sales. High Tide is positioned in a great position already because it's got 8 brands, 8 different big brands, a bit of everything. It's got the brick and mortar, the e-commerce, the retail stores, the wholesale, etc. It's got a little bit of everything. It's making a profit. It's got good financials. It's well positioned in the market right now, and it has the 2 largest e-commerce accessory platforms. So it's definitely in a great position to take advantage if this bill goes through. I'm just going to put this image up here as well. Some of the US is obviously already legalized, some is only for medical use, and some it is not legal at all. So if this bill goes through, they're hopefully going to start changing these states so they're all going to become legal, therefore generating more sales for companies like High Tide. Even with that, out of the picture here, look at the sales here for cannabis in general. This is from 2019 to 2024 estimates. Of course, it's an estimate because we're not in 2024, but you can see here year after year how it has been growing. They've got the medical use and then the adult use. So growing and growing each year, and you can see by 2024 it's predicted to be $30.2 to $37 billion, which is absolutely insane in terms of estimated retail sales. And that's just the retail sales alone right here, okay? So things are definitely looking exciting for this sector going forward. And there's a lot of companies out there in this sector, so you've got to pick the best ones to get the most out of this, really. And I really do like High Tide. I think it's well positioned, and I think the valuation right now is really good considering, the things we're talking about right here. There was another bit of news that came out just yesterday. High Tide opened 70th nationwide cannabis store. So they're increasing. We saw it was like 37 and they doubled that, and they're looking to double it again this year. They're looking to constantly double the amount of stores they have with all of these different brands they're getting as well. So now they're on to their 70th store, and that's retail location across Canada, selling recreational cannabis products and consumption accessories. So yeah, once again, growing and growing. And then we mentioned this in the previous video. I want to kind of show this because I think this is a good view here of how the sales are doing in general. So this is the Canadian market, and with the dollar reporting. So you can see High Tide is currently about 7th on the list, just below HexoCorp and Fire and Flower. If we look at the one it is above, HexoCorp, it is due to be overtaken now. When these next earnings come out, the earnings are doing a lot better than HexoCorp. It should overtake in terms of its sales. At the moment, this is, from the previous quarter, so it's sitting slightly below it. 23.2 as opposed to 29.5. But if we look at the quarterly growth, High Tide is smashing it. Same for the year-on-year growths, and even the adjusted income right here. High Tide is actually in profit compared to the few of them above the list. High Tide is actually doing better than the higher 2 in terms of sales at this moment in time. However, it's due to overtake those very, very soon. So if we look at HexoCorp, which is the one above it at the moment, generating the 29.5, we look at their stock at this moment in time with a market cap of 1.59 billion. Now let's look at High Tide. High Tide are currently at 78 cents, which is ridiculous compared to HexoCorp, and it has a market cap of about 370 million. So it is nowhere near comparable in terms of its share price and its market cap. Although, if we look at the growth, the income of High Tide compared to HexoCorp, it is smashing them at the moment. Financials are due very soon. We should be getting them in March time. So it'll be very interesting to see. And I think they're going to be very, very good financials. And I think we're going to see a good run up in High Tide. Maybe on the lead up to that as well, or potentially once they came out. Around that time, I think we're definitely going to see some upside to this at this moment in time. So that's my kind of thoughts on High Tide. That's my catalyst for these. Of course, there are the downsides as well. The downside really for this company is the market as a whole, the sector. It is very, very, it's being pumped a lot right now, okay? Look, Sundial Growers, for example, it is absolutely smashing it, flying. People are just pumping that one left, right, and center. So I definitely think the market is being hyped up a lot at the moment, maybe to do with the Democrats, maybe a bit to do with the Reddit community, etc. So that is one downside, okay? If one of these stocks takes a big hit, it probably will see a lot of these other smaller cap stocks as well follow. So it's definitely worth bearing that in mind, okay? It is slightly speculative in that sense of this is a market which is in early days. The sector which is growing and growing, pardon the pun, it is growing, and it's going to take a while, okay, to actually see proper numbers from this company. But I'm in this one for the long term, okay? I don't know about trading it. I'm not going to talk about trading this one, what my short-term prediction is. I'm definitely in this for long term, and I can definitely see this making very, very nice gains. Can't wait for those next financials to come out. So yeah, that's my catalyst for High Tide. I hope you've enjoyed this one. We'll definitely be keeping you up to date with any more news around this one. And I'm going to be talking about some other cannabis stocks as well. I've started to get into this sector, and will I be buying more at these current prices? Let's have a quick look here. 5 days, we've seen a bit of a run up. It's been a bit flat over the last few days. I would happily buy more at these prices. And if you're part of our Discord, you will know that I have actually been buying some more, averaging up a little bit here and there. So yeah, that's my thoughts on High Tide. If you've enjoyed this video, please go ahead and smash the like. Subscribe to my channel as well. Thanks for watching, and until next time.